Sharina Hudson getting out of my car with my money. Life is not what you think it is behind the scenes. Trust me. Homegirl is miserable. Like, that's what you get.
It looks like karma is not done with Sharina and Kevin just yet because they are down in them trenches. Now, we all know that Kevin was recently sued for maxing out all of his credit cards and owing thousands of dollars to several banks, and as if that wasn't bad enough, Kevin was also forced to sell off their mansions and all their luxurious cars to pay for his debts after those alimony checks from Wendy stopped coming through. And just when we thought things couldn't get any worse for them, Sharina is now also being sued by TJ Maxx after she defaulted and paying up her $3,000 debt on her TJ Maxx card. Yeah, the amount that was chump change to them earlier is now becoming the reason for them getting sued. Things are not looking too good for Sharina and Kevin, and word on the street is Wendy is currently off in Florida as Sharina and Kevin are scrambling to sustain themselves financially. She thinks this is their karma for what they did to her, and they deserve everything that they're going through. But before we get into this mess with Sharina, let me give y'all some context as to how things got this bad in the first place. This whole drama actually started back in 2019 when Wendy filed for divorce from Kevin. Not only was Kevin hooking up with Sharina while he was still married to Wendy, but he went on to have a whole baby with her now. According to Wendy, she knew he was having an affair, but what made her decide to divorce him was when she found out that he had a secret baby with Sharina, who he was fathering, and not telling her. Not only did she dump him after this, but he was also fired as her manager.
I recommend that you work with your husband because I made him my manager, and then when I decided to divorce him, he had to be fired. In other words, I made him divorced and unemployed all in one day. Having this side girl for almost 15 years of our marriage. I've known about her almost since the beginning. I've known that Kevin is a serial cheat. The first time I found out was while I was pregnant with our son on bed rest. During that time, I gave birth to him. He was in the delivery room. You'll see that play out in the movie. He's passing out cigars, and you know, my wife and I, you know, little Kevin, who's not so little anymore, he's 20 years old. I plotted to divorce Kevin, and I sacrificed a lot of myself to come out successful on the other side.
What's even crazier about this is that while all this mess was going down, Sheena's own family members sided with Wendy, and they slammed Sharina for wrecking Wendy's marriage. In fact, Shireen's uncle was asked what he thought about the entire situation, and he had nothing good to say about Sharina. He said she should know right from wrong. She left her home state of South Carolina years ago and hasn't returned to see her family even on the holidays now. This is where things started to get real bad for Wendy, because as the divorce was going down, Wendy was also ordered to pay alimony to Kevin after their divorce, which became his main source of income. Sharina was living her best life and even opened up a bunch of businesses, which all failed terribly. Kevin even put her through school to be a massage therapist, opened a kiosk for her at a mall in North Carolina, and also helped her set up a jewelry and clothing line called Vish. Kevin himself also opened a barbershop, which definitely failed miserably. And mind you, he was using Wendy's money to finance all these failed businesses. But even though all the businesses failed, they continued to live a very glamorous life on all of Wendy's money without having to work a single day. And if you'll know Wendy, then you'll know it was only a matter of time before she said something. Then, I mean, if she can't stop them from wasting her money, she should at least be allowed to throw some shade, right? She said the reason why all Shireen's businesses failed was because she's not a smart girl, and then she has no clue how to run a business.
You know, less than smart women who moved to the big city with bright lights, you know, and she wanted to be a model. And so you know how the girls with the sparkler champagne bottles at the club, they get people to spend more money, they dress scantily clad and things like that.
But baby Wendy wasn't done with them yet. When her show got canceled, she stopped sending over all them alimony checks. And as you can expect, this drove Kevin crazy. He was running out of money to fund the lavish lifestyle that he and Sharina had gotten used to. Things got so bad that he dragged Wendy to court for being behind on her alimony payments. He said the payments from Wendy were his only source of income, and he had nothing left to keep himself afloat in court documents obtained by the U.S. Sun. He was quoted saying, "I have fallen behind on most of my bills. I currently live in a community that requires payments to the homeowners association, and I'm behind on that bill. If the homeowners association fees are not paid, foreclosure will soon follow." He also added, "My car insurance hasn't been paid as a result of not receiving monthly severance payments. I'm behind on credit card payments because I have no money since the severance payments were suspended. My life has been greatly affected since the plaintiff stopped making payments under our settlement agreement." See this some clownish right here. This man was living off of Wendy's money, didn't think to save a dime. He and Sharina really thought they hit the jackpot, and that Wendy was just going to keep throwing them check forever anyway. The judge saw right through Kevin's mess and denied him that request. The judge said his request was not emergent and ordered his application to be dismissed without prejudice. Now you might be one. During how Wendy was able to stop paying them alimony checks without any consequences. Well, you see, Wendy put a clause in that alimony agreement, and it said she was only to pay Kevin if she stole. And since the Wendy Williams show got canceled after she got sick, she didn't have to pay him a dime anymore. And if you're wondering if this means Wendy will be forced to pay Kevin once she starts working again, well, she also specified in the documents that she can only pay Kevin if she's doing mainstream television. And if you look at her social media, you'll see she's gearing up to do podcasts. Things got so bad for Sharina and Kevin that they had to sell their house in Florida for $1.2 million. Kevin also reportedly took out a loan from a company called Flex Wealth to pay for 2 luxury cars, which he'll now have to pay for. This backwoods
Barbie, he was tricking up money. She's in the passenger seat of my Rolls Royce Ferrari, and really?
He's also being sued by UBS Bank for failing to make payments on his credit card debts worth over 5 figures. But while we were out here thinking Kevin was the only one drowning in debts, it's now being revealed that Sharina has also been piling up debts of her own because she's now being sued by TJ Maxx, and word on the street is there are more lawsuits on the way now. My sister, Miss Chronicles Speaks, did her thing like she always does and spilled the tea about this when she posted a series of court documents revealing that Sharina was severely broke and that she owed over $3,000 on her TJ Maxx card. Per the court documents, she was due to pay this debt on March 27th of 2023, and she's defaulted in paying it until now. This amount used to be chum chain to the both of them, but that stopped being the case when Wendy stopped paying them alimony checks. Now, as for Wendy, her BFF Miss Jones, aka Jonesy from 947, the B recently revealed some new info about what Wendy has been up to lately. Now, if you all remember, Miss Jones was actually the same woman who exposed Kevin for sending hitmen to unalive her because she was threatened by her relationship with Wendy. Now, child, that's a whole different topic for another day. But Miss Jones recently revealed that she went over to Wendy's house to check up on her since it has been a while since anybody's heard from her, and according to Miss Jones, she found out from Wendy's doorman that she recently moved to Florida a few weeks ago with her son Kevin her jar so she can recover peacefully without Kevin and Sharina taunting her with their beast